Hey everybody, I'm Terri-Britt, and we are getting started with our Own Your Worth Wednesdays for our Women Leaders of Love community. I'm so glad you're here. We have people that are trickling in right now to our Zoom portion of the telecast. FYI, as of next week, we are going to do this in a more sacred space. We're going to meet in our private Facebook community, our Women Leaders of Love private Facebook community. I have put that URL in the copy with this video so that you can go, if you're not part of that community, you can go and request to be included, and then we will invite you in so that you can join us and be a part of this very sacred community of people supporting each other, lifting each other up. And then, of course, this will create a more of a private space for you to come and ask your questions. If you want to be on the Zoom portion, then you can go to terribritt.com/leaders and get my free ebook and free meditations. And that will bring you into the Zoom portion every week, because we'll send you a link in your inbox. So we want to just kind of get people here and talking. Who knows, maybe technically we can, change it up when we get in that private group. But for right now, we're just going to make this one change at a time. Don't do too much to mess Terry's mind up, okay? Because I'm not a techie person. So, wow, it's been a crazy week, hasn't it? Let me see if there's somebody else coming in. So Jane is saying, how do you ask a question? Let me see. How do you ask a question when it is live on Facebook? So if it's live, it's always live on Facebook. We are live every single week right now on Facebook. And if you want to ask a question there, what I do is I just go back and answer it at the end of the conversation. So in the future, that's why right now we're going to keep it on Zoom in that private community. But then it just makes it a little bit more sacred. So we can go deeper, we can share more, just so that not everybody is watching it. As far as that, for right now, we'll start out with people asking questions just like they do now, and then I answer those on Facebook. You guys who are coming in on Zoom, and anybody else who wants to join us by going to terribritt.com/leaders to get my ebook and those meditations, y'all will be doing the exact same thing you've been doing, okay? You will be doing the exact same thing. It's just that we're putting it in a more secure private community. So if there's things that you haven't wanted to share, that you're afraid everybody was going to see, you don't have to worry about that. I mean, it will be in the community. And I'm pretty sure that once it's in the community, we don't make things shareable outside of the community. I have to check on that, but I'm pretty sure you can't. So I hope that answers your question. So how do you ask a question when it's live on Facebook? So you will only share the recording on the private page on Facebook. So Facebook is not private. Okay, so Kiki's saying, so Facebook, we do have private communities. Now, I guess Facebook could be watching, but as far as everybody else getting to watch, when you go into the private community, then people can't access it. And that's a really good question, because we usually put these things on my website, and we put it on YouTube. So I'm going to make a command decision right now that we're not going to do that. I'm just going to have to change it up a little, because I really want it to be sacred for you guys. So I'll just put teasers. And what I do is everybody who comes into the Facebook community, we do a scan just to make sure they're not somebody who looks like they're creating problems. We look at their Facebook profiles and stuff, we want to make sure they're legitimate, somebody who wants to join our community and be a part of it. And we monitor that just to make sure that nothing weird is going on. So I can't tell if Facebook is watching, but I doubt that they care what our stories are. And they don't have the right to go and post it, especially if it's in a private community. So it says, when I go to your website, your videos are blocked, so Facebook can't track. Right, but I don't have a private community on my website. Maybe eventually one of these days we'll build that. So right now we won't do that, because I don't have a place to encapsulate everything. I do have a divine level that is a twice monthly thing, a session kind of like this that we meet at night. strictly on the phone. It's $34.95 a month, and we go really, really deep. Nobody sees each other. And although I think everybody there, because it's a small group, would be fine with seeing each other because there's been so much support. So I hope that makes sense for you guys. Let me see if there's any other questions here. So it says you will only share the recording on the private page on Facebook. Yes, that's what we're going to be doing as of next week. Okay. So, and I want to be able to take more questions. I know we've been going deep into a lot of major coaching for one person. We tend to do that a lot. And I want to break it down. If you want deeper coaching, you can, reach out to me for some private coaching, but I want to be able to get more people involved in this conversation of healing. And so if I cut you off and say, well, let's go to the next person, I really want to make sure we get as many people as we can to ask questions and to receive some healing. So we're just kind of changing it up. I'm listening to my guidance. I mean, we'll just see what happens today, but that's kind of where I am right now. Okay, I just let somebody else in. Okay, good. And let me make sure I got my recording going. We did. I'll see it. So let's just start off and start with a little mini meditation. It's been an interesting week. I don't know if you guys watched the Oscars and saw everything that was going on with Will Smith hitting Chris Rock. It was interesting because I read Will's book, and he is going through a major transformation in his life. It used to be all about needing to be the best and be the pleaser. And he came from heavy abuse. He used to watch his dad beat the crap out of his mother. And Will said, I was a coward and I didn't do anything about it. And so the other night when I was watching this, I was like, oh my God, he's in a complete trauma response. He is reacting. Just that little boy inside of him is like everything was coming up to the surface, and he reacted. And he's probably going to end up paying for it, which is sad. But of course, it's sad that Chris got hit. It's also sad that Chris made a joke out of Jada and her alopecia, because it is a very emotional thing. She's been very open about it. So, there's so many dynamics to this, and I would give anything to see all of them take it and say, okay, what can we learn from this? Chris has said in the past that he let people walk all over him. So I'm kind of surprised that he hasn't taken a stand in more of a way than what he has, because he hasn't. With Will, I know he's going to do the deep healing. I know that. I mean, even Jada put, something out about it being a healing. And I know he recognizes that he went into a response, and, whether he calls it a trauma response or whatever, I just know from reading his book and hearing him in his interviews that he knows there's a bigger picture. So I'm hoping that he'll take this, as we always do in here, and say, okay, what is this outer world mirroring to my inner world? What is it that I need to heal inside of me so I don't react the way I am, and instead I meet things with love? I mean, can you imagine how cool it would have been if he'd just walked up on stage and said, hey, Chris, let's stop for a second. My wife has been struggling with alopecia, and even though she's embracing her baldness now, it has been a very emotional ride. And there are a lot of people out in the world who are struggling with this, and especially Black women. And there's a bigger percentage of Black women who struggle with it. And, and if he'd called attention to that and made it an opportunity for healing, it would have been so much better. But instead he stayed in his trauma response. And I'm sending all of them love, and I hope you guys will too. But it's just bringing up in our culture so many different things, and for me, it reminds me of how I used to be. I don't know if you guys can relate, but it reminds me of how when I went into a trauma response and I was struggling with something, getting triggered, that I would go slap somebody. I mean, I beat up a girl before I won Miss USA, months before I won Miss USA. I used to beat up my boyfriend, even my late husband, when we first got together, when he hated confrontation. And when I was trying to confront him about something that I was feeling, he would turn around and walk off. It would make me crazy. And I'd go up and start hitting him. It's not cool, but that's what I did. So I get trauma responses, right? I get it. And thankfully, well, I started to say I never did it in public, but I did. I did it at a lot of college parties. I was one of those college girls that went off the deep end. Okay. So I hope that we can turn this around and let it be a healing for everyone to say, wow, we all need to go within and heal. A lot of people got triggered by the whole situation. Let's go in and heal and look at what's bothering me about this and what it brings up for me. I mean, I absolutely do not condone him slapping Chris, but I also think there needs to be forgiveness. And we need to figure out, how do we shift this? How do we learn from it? And how do we grow? So that's my 2 cents worth. I just wanted to share that because it has been an interesting week. Let's dive into meditation. Let's get grounded, and then we're going to open up for your questions and coaching and healing. So let's do this. I want to invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you. Take a breath in through your nose. Hold it and release. Let your whole body relax as you do it again. Breathing in. Hold it and release. Continue this breathing, just breathing in deeply through your nose. And as you release out of your mouth, let everything in your stomach, your shoulders, everything release and let it go. Continuing that breath. And let's just take a moment right now to get grounded. Let's call in the light of forgiveness, okay? Because there is a lot of forgiveness that's being needed right here on the planet. So imagine this beautiful light of forgiveness, whatever that is for you. I'm seeing pink sparkles, sparkles of love and sparkles of joy, because the forgiveness brings us into that space. So I want you to imagine whatever it is it looks like for you as we get grounded, to bring in the light of forgiveness. And even, as you're doing this, think about the times maybe where you reacted out of a trauma response. And there's forgiveness that's needed there, because a lot of times if we don't forgive ourselves, we'll hold the shame, we'll hold the guilt, and it keeps us from feeling worthy. So that's one of the things that we can take a look at right now after this week of Will hitting Chris is just saying, okay, how am I not forgiving myself? How am I holding on to energy that is staying stuck into my body? And as it stays stuck in your body, it's keeping you at a low worthiness quotient. It's keeping you shut down to receiving. So just be aware of that as we bring in this forgiveness energy. And if something does pop up for you, just allow it. Just say, okay, I forgive you. I'm going to embrace my humanness. Allow that energy that's flooding into your crown to come down into your face, come into your neck. And you can even say to yourself, I choose forgiveness. Bringing that energy down into your shoulders. I choose forgiveness. Bringing it down your arms and out your hands. Coming from that space of the shoulders again, coming into your chest, and you can really feel the energy expanding here. I choose forgiveness. Allow that energy to move down into your ribs. I choose forgiveness. All the way down into your hips. I choose forgiveness. And then down your legs. Once again, I choose forgiveness as it moves into your feet, and letting anything that you're ready to release out of the balls of your feet and the tips of your toes. Allow those chakras to open and let the energy flood out. Let it dump down below your feet. And then allow the energy to flood over into your aura. Let's just check in with your aura, extending it out, arm's length, in front of you, behind you, and around you, above you, and below you. It's like you're in that big egg of energy, and allow that energy to wash your aura. A lot of times when we are holding on to a lack of forgiveness, we'll get muddled or muddied in this energy of our aura, and we can't see clearly, we can't make decisions. So let that energy wash the interior of your aura and even on the outside. Breathing into this. Really getting grounded in I choose forgiveness. And then let everything at the bottom of your aura dump down, going to the center of the earth, sending it down a column of light. Breathing in. And then as we're about to open up for questions, I want you to imagine that at the end of this session today, that you've gotten clarity and healing for whatever it is you want to have healed in your life right now. So I want you just to visualize it and say, thank you for the healing that is happening right now. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the coaching. Thank you for the group, that we are all here. And thank you for the vulnerability that, speak this to yourself, that I have to speak up and share my thoughts and my feelings, to be real, so that I not only heal, but I can help others heal by being an example. So feel that feeling moving through your body, saying yes, 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 yes. And then when you're ready, you can come back into this space. And I see Eileen has already raised her hand. So Eileen, how about unmuting yourself? And if you know where the little microphone is on your screen, if it's not, let me see if I can unmute you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Hi, beautiful.
Great. All right.
How can I help you?
Well, my situation is I'm looking for a job. I've been applying for them and nothing is happening. In fact, I've gotten 2 rejects already, and I want to I want to know what is happening. Why I used to be able to get jobs like this, right away, and I'm in a situation where I just moved into an apartment. I need to make more money to pay for the rent, and things are moving very slowly.
Okay. So may I look at your energy? I'm going to take a moment to look at your energy and see what's going on. Okay. So there's some heavy energy behind you. So I'm going to just clear that out right now. What is it from the past that you're needing to release? And this is something recent. Was there something that happened?
Yeah. And I think the first time I came on your show, your meeting, a couple of months ago, was my complaint was this organization that made me give my social security check over so that they could manage it, and they destroyed it. I mean, horrible things happened, and so I finally got my social security check coming back to me and just kind of like walked out on them. I not going to put up with it.
Okay, good. So what I'm feeling here is that old energy that is stuck to them. So I'm going to clean out the energy, because it feels like there's a cord of energy between you and them. And so there's a sense of, why does this happen to me? Why did this happen to me? And that's the energy that I'm seeing in your heart chakra, is what I'm saying. So let's just see if we can pull out. What is that noise? What a weird. Is anyone else hearing that? It's very bizarre. Okay, so there's a part of you that feels, and this is probably why you're, here we're talking about worthiness. And I don't know if this is a conscious thing, but a subconscious thing is this belief that it's always going to be hard. And
it's been that way, yeah.
Right? But this is not just a belief from now. This is a belief that feels like it's gone on for a long, long time. Like it's always going to be hard. What happened? I'm feeling a sense about something around your mother. What happened with your mom?
I was the oldest. I had 2 younger brothers, and we lived in the Bronx till I was 5. And when we lived in the Bronx, there was this incident that I remember, horrible. She would tell me about the orphanage and what happened to kids there. Like, they had only stale bread to eat and water to drink, and then they'd get beaten and put to bed. And one day, I don't know what I did wrong, but apparently I did something wrong, and she of course she beat me. She always did, and she called the orphanage and said, "I don't want Eileen anymore." Sorry. Let me just Sorry about that. And so she she said, so she made like she called the orphanage. I'm 5. I didn't know she was not really doing it. And then I said, no, I promise I'll be good. And I remember pulling on her apron strings and screaming and crying. And she said, go take a nap. And I couldn't take a nap. The guy was going to come through and punch the door down and take me away. She calls up the orphanage again and says, oh, I don't want to, no, tell him to not come today. And so she, in my mind, the guy's going to knock the door down and take me away, because that was what his order was. You'd always do what you're told. Going up to college time or high school, my mother says, you want to go to college, you have to pay for it yourself. We're not paying for you, we're paying for the boys. They need a college education. So I go and I get job waitressing during the school year and summer, and then in the summer I'm a lifeguard and swim instructor. It's always been something, always, you know, but I always overcome it. I just say, your power's in your overcoming, your power's in your overcoming, and that's what keeps me going.
Oh, okay. So here's something for you. So when you're saying your powers in overcoming, it's almost like you're creating more things that you have to overcome. Okay. So let's start changing the mindset here. So my power is in being able to receive. My power is in being able to receive, because the more you can receive, the more joy you're going to bring onto the planet, right? So I want you to do me a favor, Eileen. I want you to just take a moment. If you need to close your eyes, you can. If you can visualize your inner child, whatever you want to do. But I want you to visualize you as that little girl when all this happened. And I want you to tell me what is the belief you took on then that is creating this situation now?
Well, I don't know offhand. I can't think of an incident, but I just remember my mother saying, growing up, you know, that, what do you think we are, the Rockefellers? You know, we don't have money for this, or whatever.
No, I'm talking about when that day when she threatened you, okay, with the orphanage. Little kids, that's a trauma. Okay, that is a major trauma, because you are being threatened to be abandoned. Okay, so our little brains in a situation like that, we make a decision like, well, she doesn't love me, I'm not lovable, or if I don't act right, you know, I'm going to be treated badly. I mean, it could be many things. So I'm asking you to ask your inner child, what was the belief she took on in that moment?
I would think it's, I'm not lovable, or I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. That's it. I'm not good enough.
Okay. So that's what this is about. So that it's like, I'm not good enough to receive love. It's really what it comes down to. I'm not good enough for you to love me. But when you hold on that energy of I'm not good enough, you're holding on the energy of guilt and shame. Like, I haven't done it right for you would be the guilt, because the guilt is in the doing and the shame is who I am. Okay. So I'm not good enough says I'm so ashamed of who I am. Right. So then things are going to keep having to show up in your life that feel like you have to overcome them. And so the belief is, you know, it's holding you at that vibration that I deserve to be punished. Because if you're holding guilt and shame, the sense is I deserve to be punished. And so I don't believe you think that, but even overcoming things is a sense of punishment. Okay? It's like receiving is, okay, I'm deserving, receiving love, receiving nurturing, but feeling like it's hard and I have to overcome, that's punishment. That's like there's resistance, there's this fight that I don't quite deserve. So I want you to look at the little girl inside of you right now. And I want you to just imagine looking at her and saying to her, you know what, the belief you took on back then was not the truth. It was what you took on to protect yourself. You started playing good. You started trying to do everything right because that was your way of protecting yourself. You don't need to do that anymore. You don't need to protect yourself that way anymore. And as you do that, I want you to just take a moment and I want you to feel your crown opening up. And I want you to feel yourself allowing love to flood in. What part of you that you lost back then? What was the part? Because it feels like there's a soul retrieval happening right now as we're moving out the energy in the back of your heart. And it feels like an energy is coming in. And it really feels like receptivity to me. It feels like the energy of saying, I can receive. It feels like the energy of, I can be nurtured. Okay? Because your job situation is a mirror to this belief that I can't be nurtured. I can't receive. I can't be because I'm not lovable. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
I want you to bring in this receptivity energy. And I'm seeing you writing something. What is it that you're writing? What are you writing? So, do you ever sit in meditation and talk to your guides?
I don't sit and talk to them. I talk to them when I'm walking around the house or, you know.
Whatever works for you, okay? But
Yeah.
they're wanting to talk to you.
They want to
Okay.
talk to me.
They wanted you to do some automatic writing.
Okay.
Okay. So, and that's a great form of receiving. Okay. So you're allowing yourself to receive that way. So ask them, because recognizing that the belief you took on as a child that, you know, that I'm not lovable, that was your mother's crap. You know that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So your key is to stay in a receptive state and take a stand for I am worthy of receiving. And so your guides are wanting to talk to you. So go into meditation and clear your energy, you know, get into a vibrational state. For me, I go into gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so happy that my guides are here with me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That, you know, I start saying, like, if you're needing to pay your rent, I'm so grateful that you're showing me the way to pay my rent. And I would be writing it. Okay. I would be in meditation and writing, thank you, thank you, thank you. I asked my guides to come in. I'm asking for guidance right now and see what they say to you, because they're wanting you to connect. They're wanting to, they're wanting you to be receptive. Okay. Because what happened back then, even though you talk to your guides, you're not allowing yourself to receive their help.
Yeah.
Did you agree with that?
Yeah. It's like a one-way conversation. I just say, "Can you help me on this?" You know, but I never hear anything back.
So this is why it's important. Okay, great. I'm glad you told me that. So when you sit down in meditation, opening up your crown, do you have my grounding meditation? It's free.
I'll have to look for it. I don't know.
So you can get it again. It's just terribritt.com/grounding. And
Okay.
it gets you in an amazingly receptive space. It's all about receiving. Okay.
Okay.
So
Good.
go get that. It's like a 25-minute, 28-minute meditation. And just really get into that receptive space, letting yourself be loved, letting yourself be nurtured. Have your pen and paper ready. And then as you do this, just start writing. And the way I like to do it, and I talk about this in my worthiness course, is I switch the pen to the other hand, and it's going to look like chicken scratch, but it opens you up to your intuitive mind to let them speak to you and through you. So that's how you can start connecting and receiving, so that you can get the guidance. Okay. But so you've had this thing about, I'm all alone and I'm not worthy of being lovable, or I'm not lovable, so I'm not worthy of being nurtured in that way. And that's not the truth. That's why you're here. So you were guided to these sessions with me and these other women because your spirit is telling you, yes, you are worthy. Okay. So let your guides come in and talk to you, and they're going to show you the path to take. If you feel a nudge where, you know, I feel like I need to go down the street and all of a sudden I see a sign on a door and there's a job opportunity, go in. Don't stop it. Don't go into resistance. Just listen to the things that are coming to you and act on them. Okay. So see what happens. Does it make sense? Because I get the sense that these jobs that you're applying for, are they really something you want to be doing?
Well, I was applying for like working at the grocery store because I'm I'm limited. I can only make $8,000 more for this year. But then I decided, no, I'll just have to move because this is, I forget what they call it, like assisted housing or something. And so so then I thought, no, I want to make something like $100,000 a year because I want to get another car, I want to get a nice place to live, and I want to be able to support myself. I haven't been able to support myself in like the last 10 years. And it's
wanting a change. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And for anybody else who's interested, there's a great book out called Get Rich, Lucky Bitch. And it's a great name, great book. I listened to it on Audible. It's wonderful. She's really wonderful. Law of attraction coach about energy, vibration, mindset. But it might really be helpful to you to listen to that as well.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, you can probably go to the library and get it for free. I think on Audible, if you don't have credits, you buy credit for $14 or whatever, and then whatever it costs at the bookstore. But you can probably get it at the library, and so you don't have to spend any money on it. But that's something to do. But in the interim right now, it's really important that your guides are wanting to talk to you and for you to say, I give myself permission to be surrounded and to receive. The key is to keep your crown open, which moves you into your higher self. When you're in fear, you're in a contracted mode, you're not in a receptive space. So if you get the meditation that I mentioned, terribritt.com/grounding, that's going to get you into a receptive state. It's going to get you into a high vibration, and then you can really get some information and channel that through there. Okay.
What was the name of that book again?
Get Rich, Lucky Bitch.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
It's a hysterical name, and her name is Diane. You'll find it. It's the only one that's called that. She also wrote a book called Lucky Bitch, I think, but this one's called Get Rich, Lucky Bitch. And my daughter's reading it, and another friend of mine's reading it. I thought, well, I'm going to read it, and it's been really, really good. I am enjoying it so much.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Yeah, I love reading everybody's information. It's like the more information you get, the better. It's awesome.
Me too.
All right, so keep us posted on how everything goes, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, I'm going to ask you to mute yourself, and I'm going to lower your hand. And Jane, I'm going to open you up. Let me lower her hand. Hold on. Why is it not going?
Hello.
Hi, Jane. How are you?
Thank you, Aline, for your sharing. My topic is also in the same area, and I resonated with that. Because I have a dilemma right now. I'm also in an organization and I don't feel well there. And this has been for months. And it's for me to decide if I want to stay there or not. Okay.
And so why are you there? Hold on 1 second. Let me just write this down for her real fast. This grounding meditation, if anybody else wants it. If I don't do it right now, I'll forget. Okay, there. So if anybody else needs it, it's right there. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Anne. I was like, it was in my mind. So I was like, get this written down. So you're in the organization that you're not happy there. So why are you staying?
Because I have the opportunity to learn new skills.
That's cool.
What I want. And some of the people I work with, they are in HQ and not at the place I am. And the place I am, so the subsidiary, that's where the issue is. So I'm staying, because I love what I do, and for what it is, but the people I work with, it's not matching.
So what's really interesting is when you love the work, but the people are your issue. So for me, I would be looking at it, okay, so where is the resistance? Where is my judgment on these people? And I would be looking at it as an opportunity to go within and see, what's going on inside of me. Does this person remind me of an old school teacher? I mean, that sounds crazy, but people can trigger you. I mean, when you think about, say, for instance, once think of one person at your work that you just really struggle with the most. Okay. You don't have to name anybody, but just one person. Okay. You got that person in your mind.
Yes.
So what triggers you with them?
It's the fact that this person doesn't want to change. Like this person has an old style of working and I have a new style of working.
So why can't you both do your own style of working? Why does the person have to be like you?
She doesn't have to be like me. It's only when I ask for information, it's always reacting and asking why I need this and why should I give it to you? I don't understand. And yes.
Okay. So that makes a lot of sense. So she's getting triggered.
Yes.
Okay? Because if she's the old style and you're the new style, so you're the one who's inviting her to come into a new form of communication. You're inviting her into changing. We're having the same thing with one of our people that work for us. Doesn't want to shift, right? Simple little things, but doesn't want to shift. And so when you have that, if there's a way that instead of meeting that person with resistance, is there a way that you can just quietly go back to your desk or do whatever and sit for a second, getting into a receptive state, opening up your crown, visualizing that person and asking their spirit, which I usually like to ask the person's inner child, how can I speak to you so that that we can meet in a way that we can connect? Because she's coming from an inner woundedness, right? She's coming from that little kid that is needing to stay safe, doesn't want change, right? Because when people, they don't want change, it's like, oh, I just want to stay here. This is what I know. And, and maybe instead of feeling like she's not hearing you, recognizing it as she's afraid. Okay. See the difference? So you're seeing it as we're not working together well, when in reality, you may be that person there to help the space evolve into something much better.
Yes.
Okay? So if you can think of it as, how can I be that woman leader of love in this workplace? How can I be that person who leads, who doesn't meet them with a battle, but instead gradually shows a different way and invites them into that conversation? Because it feels like when she resists you, it feels like you're not being heard. You feel like is that what it is? You're not being heard. And so that's going to trigger you. So there's opportunity there for healing, right? So that's when I would go deep inside, look at little Jane and say, what is the belief you're holding on to about being heard? And if there's any emotion that comes up, it goes back to your childhood or whatever, wherever it comes from, where you weren't heard, let the emotion come up. So you're getting it out of your body. And then you say to her, I hear you. I'm hearing you. What do you need? Okay. So this woman may just be playing her part for you, because you look at it from a spiritual perspective and spiritual contracts. She may just be playing her part for you to get to a place of healing this energy of I'm not being heard. Okay. It may be something as simple as that, because when we heal it within us, a lot of times the resistance around us goes away. Right. So I would use it as an opportunity to go within, look at myself and say, where am I holding this energy? Is there, why wasn't I heard? Just really do some deep introspection and work on that, do some journaling on it and give thanks for her. If you will go into gratitude about this woman and the part she's playing for you to go deeper into hearing yourself and to cleaning out the energy that says you can't be heard. If you will sit in gratitude for that, you'll have the greatest opportunity to shift it. And then the energy can shift between the two of you. That's how I would handle it. But, if that resonates for you, then I would invite you to do it. I would also get really grounded in the fact that, excuse me, that you are, you've got more information as far as the new way of being. I mean, sometimes the old way of being can have some really good qualities too, right? So it can be a balance in the combination, right? So, just look at, where am I in resistance to this? What can I learn from it? Thank you for the gift. Do the deep work instead of trying to get her to change right now. Focus on changing your vibration and focus on loving yourself so you can be heard, and then see what happens. It's like with a kid, right? You got a teenager and you're bumping heads and you want the teenager to change. Well, the more you try to change that teenager, it is not going to happen, right? I mean, it is not going to happen.
It's really a childish behavior, really.
So I'm saying that one more time.
The person is really behaving childish, like.
Right. So you're probably triggering her in some way. She may feel like you remind her of her mother, it could be anything, right? It could be anything. And so it's okay. It's okay, because we all have triggers. So you can't change hers other than when you shift your energy and you're no longer needing her to hear you, like, because you're now really holding the vibration of, I'm worthy of being heard. And you don't have to battle for it. It's when we're battling for it that people go into resistance. So if you're just really coming from a space of, I'm worthy of being heard, and I'm hearing that little kid inside of me, and I'm embracing her and loving her and asking her, how do I hear you more? What do you need me to hear from her? And you really build that, then the energy starts shifting. Your vibration comes up, your worthiness comes up. And then it's hard to go to battle with her, because if you're here and her energy's here, so then you give her an opportunity to rise to the occasion, to shift to. And I can tell you, Jane, I've seen it happen so many times, I can't even count, in my own family and with clients through the years, that when you quit focusing on changing that person and you look at what is the gift they're giving you and you shift your energy, then it just shifts. It's amazing. So would you try that and then let us know how it goes?
I understand you, but it's like the story is, there are like two people who recently left the organization, like one really like on the spot, like it was a drama, and the other one also, it was not clear, but yeah. And now it's another dynamic, and the people remaining, they are in this old style. One of the stuff that really irritated me, that I took over the position, and we have to do this report, yearly report, annual report, and it was not mentioned. She sent the document too late, and it was too late. They sent it to HQ, and now they say it's too late to change, to put my name. And this really also triggered me, because they don't recognize my work. And this is really not acceptable.
So you have some major stuff going on, girl, in the sense of being seen, heard, and valued.
Yes.
This workplace can be an incredible gift to you if you will do the inner work. If you do the, really go in and look at, about being acknowledged, about being heard, okay, all those things. So go in, do the healing work. And then if you feel like it's still being mirrored to you, do it a little bit more, okay? And then if you still feel it's being that way to you, then you have to make a decision. I'm no longer willing to be in this kind of workplace because I deserve.
This is the question. Yes.
Yeah. Right. So for me, it's kind of like when I'm coaching people that are considering divorce, right? I'll say, go, let's do the inner work. Let's see what, you feel like you're not being heard. Okay, let's do the inner work. You feel like, your husband has too much fun and you're doing you're the responsible one. Let's do the inner work. Okay. And then if you get it and you've done all the inner work and you're looking at it and you're still saying, I'm not in love with him anymore, then it's time to get out. Right. I had a client years ago. She was sticking around and she comes in one day for a session and she goes, I've been hearing this song in my head, and it was, I forget who the old singer was, but it's cruel to be kind. And she goes, yes. I keep hearing that verse, and I'm like, your soul is telling you you are not being kind by staying with him. You think you're being kind, you're being cruel because he keeps hoping that you're going to stick around. Right?
Yeah.
So she was getting a cosmic 2x4, get out, you're done. Because she did all the inner work, and it was like, this is just not working. And you're hurting him more by sticking around. So you have to think of it that way is, okay, I'm going to do the inner work and look at the gift of this situation. Because in reality, Jane, whether it's this workplace or the next one, if you haven't cleared it, it's going to keep showing up.
Yes, that's exactly what I think, because if I quit, I will say to myself, oh, again, it happened again.
Yeah. So here's what I would be doing is I would set an intention of what you want the workplace to feel like. So, whatever that feels like, where it's, there's a nice flow, there's a lot of laughter, there's a lot of joy, there's, you loving your work still, and your work, the connection between the people. It doesn't mean you have to be in bed with them, but you can have, enjoy them, and recognize them for who they are and having peace about that. And so whatever that feeling is, and set the intention of, like, thank you. And so every time you go into negativity, go back to that intention of thank you, and holding that space, then going within and doing the inner work. Okay. And then just start seeing, giving thanks for that person. Thank you. And for the situation with not being acknowledged. Thank you. I recognize I have been brought to this work environment because it's going to take me to the next level of my self-worth. It's going to bring me to a higher level. And self-worth, of course, is how much you love yourself, right? And so just keep doing that, giving thanks, sitting with the intention and doing the inner work, and then recognizing her in her woundedness. She is trying to stay safe. She's struggling with you because you're coming in and you're wanting to change things, and people who are trying to stay safe don't like change.
Yes, exactly.
Right. So the resistance is there and she's feeling it and she's digging in her heels. That's why you're saying she's acting like a teenager. Right. So just recognize all that and just focus on you right now. Don't focus on changing her. Focus on how do I shift my vibration so this dynamic can shift.
Yeah, the thing is, there are some deadlines now between end of this month and April. And if I have to make a decision, it's now. It's because there is this General Assembly. And if I want to get voted, and there is a lot of...
So there is a lot, you got to make a decision on what? That you're going to stay there or leave? Is that what you mean?
Yes, that. And then I have to also send some documents. So this is also the question if I do that. And also if I have some things I want to bring up, but if I tell them to these people working in the old style, they will take as critique and we will be stuck again. So
if it were me, because you have a lot of questions, is I would get off of this session with me and I would go sit down and say, okay, I'm here. Guides, I'm asking you to come in. I'm going to set this intention of what I want to have in my life, what I'm willing to do and not do. And, if there's a boundary I need to create right now, if there's something I need to do, and give thanks and just really write your feelings. Go into the mirror of what she's showing you about yourself and, and the part about being acknowledged. Do some work. Okay. Like spend the next couple hours if you can, or sometime between now and, and tomorrow, so that you can get some clarity, because your confusion is created because you've got all this energy that is all mucky and you're not getting clarity because you're in this muck, right?
Yes.
So I really want to invite you to, it's almost like I see you in a straitjacket, and you may be feeling that way. And the straitjacket, I usually think of a straitjacket as white, but it's not white, it's black. So it feels really heavy. It feels very dark. And what I'm being shown is to tell you to take off the straitjacket and do like clear the energy and then say, what is right for me right now? Okay. If it means it's time to step away from this organization, no, like I am not willing to be in this, then make that decision. You make it from your heart. I'm not going to tell you what you need to do, because your future is between you and God. Yes. Okay. But let the healing happen and then see what's revealed is what I want to say to you.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And it's just also the thought that if I stay, that I might send the wrong signal, that they can still do what they continue to do, and that they will not understand.
If you didn't do the inner healing work, I would have said yes. But if you do the healing work and you create boundaries with yourself and the universe about what you're willing to work in, mm-hmm. it can shift. Okay. Mm-hmm. But, I would say do the inner work and see what you're feeling there, because mm-hmm. I mean, so if you did the inner work and it feels like things are shifting, but then 2 weeks from now, it feels bad and you're there, are you feeling like you can't leave then?
Yes, I could still leave then. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like you have to make a live or die decision. It's like, I can look at me right now and do the inner healing work, and then, see what it feels like in the next 2 weeks, in the next, give myself a month, and also try these exercises of being receptive, being loving to myself, hearing myself, acknowledging myself. A lot of times when we're not being acknowledged, it's because we're not acknowledging ourselves. So mm-hmm. doing that for ourselves, giving thanks for the gift, do the inner work. And then at the end of the month, check in, at the end of April, check in with yourself and say, how does this feel now? Is it feeling better? Sometimes just giving gratitude and paying attention from that perspective, rather than trying to change someone, it'll change everything. You will feel different. So I would give myself the month to do these things and then see where you stand at the end of April. Maybe it feels like it's going to take a couple of months to really see the shift. Feels like by June is what I'm feeling. So but you got to commit to doing the paying attention and looking at yourself around this. How does that mm-hmm. feel to you? Can you do that?
It will be hard, but yes, I can do that. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I think that, my sense is that you are at a staircase, and the staircase is ascension into higher consciousness of neutrality and love. And right now you are making a decision on, do I want this to be the avenue that I travel to get there? And you truly can look at it. I mean, like, see, for me, I think being a stepmom is the hardest thing I've ever done. I've done it twice. First time I sucked at it. Okay. And the second time I've been done okay, but I could have done better, but I'm getting better. Okay. It's different parenting styles. It's, it's just different. And both times it was interesting, because before my late husband, I dated a guy who had teenage boys, and I said, I'll never date anybody again who has kids. I'm not, because sure enough, here comes the man I meet, fall in love with. He's got a kid. Like, well, so much for that, right? So, I mean, my path of being in a situation, because usually in a step family situation, the parent, if they're not doing conscious work at that point, will overcompensate with their child. Well, for me, that triggers my sense of when growing up, feeling like my mom and my sister were like this and I was left out. So when you've got a parent overcompensating with the child, all of my neediness gets triggered. Okay.
Yes.
So I made a decision. I don't remember standing at a staircase. I think it was going down to hell at times, but you know what I'm saying? It's like,
yes.
I made a decision in both of my marriages that, okay, I'm going to be the stepmom again. And it has been the greatest gift, but it has been the hardest avenue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you just decide, do I want to do this work and go deeper? If you didn't like anything about the work environment, I would say, get out. But you said you like the work. You like what they're all about and everything. It's just that these people So then you have to decide from there and let it be the opportunity to heal.
Yes, and they started to compliment on my work. So yes, there is also some positive, but yeah, it's really.
And that's a great point. So find that, okay? So our reticular activating system in our brain tends to look for specific things. It's like having blinders on. So if we're only seeing the negative, then that's what we'll keep seeing. So if you go into gratitude about all the gifts that are being revealed, whether they feel good or bad, there's still a gift for you to go deeper. Then pay attention to the compliments and give thanks for the compliments. I'm so grateful that I was acknowledged today. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And
yes.
be okay, because it sounds like, you know, words of affirmation are maybe one of your love languages. And that is totally cool. That's who you are. And so recognize that I give myself permission to receive words of affirmation. I give myself permission to receive these compliments and to be acknowledged. So just recognize that, okay?
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All righty. I'm going to ask you to mute yourself. Anybody else have a question? I know we're already at 3 o'clock almost, but if anybody else has a question. So let's just wrap it up then, and we'll do a little mini meditation. And I really hope you guys, I mean, if I could give everybody the single most important tools that changed my life, it would be one, to get grounded and open up to receive daily. I mean, literally getting grounded. That's why I put that on the link on there, terribritt.com/grounding. Getting in that receptive state makes a huge difference. And then always asking what the gift is. When we feel like someone is doing something to us, we're in a lower vibration because we're acting like there's something wrong with me. They're doing it to me. You know, why can't I make it different? The way you make it different is by getting into a receptive space, giving thanks for the situation. Gratitude is always going to take you into a higher vibration. So when you say thank you, you know, and go into that higher vibration, and you're in a receptive state, then you can go deep into clearing out the beliefs that are being mirrored to you. And so every situation that is bad, it can actually turn out to be amazing. That's why when I opened up talking about Will Smith and Chris Rock this week, you know, Will has an amazing opportunity because I you know, he started rambling and talking about, you know, God using him or something like that. I forget how he worded it. I truly believe God is trying to use him. It just, sometimes the darkness happens before the dawn. But if he can turn this around and see and talk, you know, and do the healing work, because I know he's got a coach he's been working with for years. If he'll do the inner work and find out what was the trigger, and then come back and share that with people, because think about it, especially, you know, in the culture, you know, a lot of people are upset because they feel like, well, you're just showing what so many people think about the Black culture is that men will, you know, Black brothers will beat down each other. So, I mean, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar just wrote this, you know, piece on it and saying, you know, don't break this down. And so if Will could come back and say, what is the gift in this? How do I go deeper? And I know he is. I really, truly believe, I know he is. And to go deeper in what caused my reaction, what is my pain that I'm holding on to. He has this amazing opportunity to come back and share his wisdom. You know, he says, I feel like I'm being called to teach. I feel like I'm being called to share my wisdom. And then he has this major breakdown, you know, happen for the world to see. But I believe there's a bigger picture here. I really, truly believe that. And I believe it's that way in each of our lives, that there is a bigger picture. If we'll embrace it, see it as a gift, go within, do the healing work, giving thanks the whole time, even though it may be painful, that we come into this higher vibration, and then we become women leaders of love. You know, we're owning our worth and we're being that example for others. I mean, Jane, think about this woman that you're working with, and she wants to stay in her safety zone, right? She doesn't want to shift. She doesn't want to change. Think about her worthiness. Her worthiness is, if we want to stay that safe, it's usually because we don't feel worthy of being protected and nurtured and loved by the universe. We don't trust that we're enough. We don't trust that we're lovable. So she is a very wounded individual. And if we can look at that and say, okay, if I can shift me, then maybe I can be that example for her to shift. Instead of going like this, I can be in this space of being that example for her to watch and learn. And I see, Jane, you just, I think you raised your hand again. If you did, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, it's not only one person, it's much more. And they are like,
that's okay.
Big, yeah.
That's okay. So that's why I asked you, who's the one who's standing out the most? So, look at that. And then you can, because I think of healing, like when we have a core belief, I think of it as this big magnet, and there's all these little paper clips. Okay. And so I'm getting triggered by this woman, and I say, what's the gift? And I go in and do the healing work. And all of a sudden, one of those paper clips is gone. It's like, oh, well, there's one last one. And then all of a sudden, Joe over here, he's now triggered me. Okay. So what is he triggering me about? And so I do the deep work. And I come back and was like, oh, I got that belief. Oh, wow. Okay, let me release that energy. You can always put everything in a rose, move the energy out. And it's like, what's my truth? What is my truth? And then you've released another paper clip. Well, eventually the paper clips are gone and you get to that core belief. And then, it's usually a big shift, which I think that's what Will Smith was going through talk about a big one. And when you get there, then you can really make a huge shift. And sometimes it takes years. I heard someone say years ago that we have 3 core beliefs that we're working on in a lifetime. And that may be true. I don't know. I don't know if that's, if we can generalize it like that, but just know that this is what we're doing. So I would encourage you to look at all the people, Jane, and the ones that stand out the most. And it may be that it's just one who stands out the most that will shift everything for you. Okay. Or maybe there's different situations, like one about being acknowledged maybe from someone else, and then the one who's not hearing you maybe over here. So I would look at both of those. Okay. I hope she got that. Oh, she muted herself. Okay. So let me see if there's she says, okay, got it. Okay. So let's just close this out, and let's hold the vision of what it is that you are wanting to create right now, as far as what you learned today about yourself, what you are ready to release. So if there's something that came up for you today, I want to invite you to just close your eyes. And if you felt some energy coming to the surface, let's put that energy in a beautiful rose, the head of a rose, acting in like a vacuum cleaner. Just put that energy in the rose and say, thank you. Thank you for the gift. Thank you that it's now time to release this energy. Put it in that rose. And you can even just imagine the rose out here facing you and it pulling anything, just your whole auric field, even underneath your feet and in your grounding. Let all that energy go into the rose. And then let's send that energy or that rose out into the universe, blow it up like confetti, like we do. We send it back with love. And fill yourself up. We always want to fill up after we clear out. So opening up your crown, always remembering to keep your crown open and let the energy flood in. Energy of light, energy of love. Whatever it is that you're wanting to create more of in your life, bring that energy in and allow that to go to your toes and your fingertips, all throughout your body, your face, your head, and into your aura, and all the way down your grounding. And then when you're ready, take a breath, release. Let's do that again. Take another deep breath, release, and you can come back into this space. Okay, guys, so remember, if you're on Zoom, nothing's really going to affect you. That you will do the same thing that you always do. You'll come into our Zoom call next week. You'll get the link in your inbox if you want to be a part, so you can ask questions. And you're not a part of my mailing with the Zoom link, you can get my terribritt.com/leaders. You can get my free worthiness quotient breakthrough bundle, which will give you some tips and tools in my ebook to really start owning your worth more so than you've ever owned, because we tend to say I've owned my worth, but then we really haven't energetically. And then some 3 guided meditations. And then next week we will send you the link to come into Zoom so you can ask questions. For those of you who want to just continue to join us on Facebook, we are going into the private group as of next week. Next week is the first week in April. And so if you want to join us there, I've put the link in the copy here, but it's just facebook.com/groups/women leaders of love. So you can ask to be a part of that group if you're not, because we will do the session there. And then if you're not on Zoom and you have a question you want to ask, or comments, you want it to be more sacred and private, you can do it there and not feel like everybody's reading it. So yes, it is the same Zoom link. Nothing's going to change on the Zoom. You will continue to do exactly what you're doing. This is just for those who want to watch it on Facebook. Okay. So y'all have a good one, and we will see you here same time, same place next week. Bye-bye, everybody.